estaba que quería que sonara la campana. Estaba con unas ganas de salir a pelear, de ganarle, de demostrar que soy mejor que él.
We remember the first fight between Canelo and Golovkin.
This is officially a draw.
Tough call. It was a very, very difficult call.
Я при своем, я победил.
Yo no estaba contento con el empate que dieron. Queríamos la revancha y ahora sí que quitarnos de dudas.
We see a lot of rematches in boxing. We don't often see a fighter fundamentally change how they fight, and that's what Canelo did.
The two Triple G fights were two of the greatest fights the sport has ever witnessed. Two absolute wars, two epics.
Yo le dije a Eddie, como sea, voy a ganar esta pelea.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is finally over. This is the main event of the evening for the WBC, WBA, IBO, Ring Magazine, Middleweight Championship of the World.
Claro, pues obviamente queríamos esa revancha porque yo no estaba contento con el empate que dieron.
Most people who watched felt Triple G won that first fight. And that didn't sit well with Canelo, obviously. Triple G was always like, bring me Canelo. I want Canelo. So people felt that maybe Saul Alvarez was dodging Golovkin. And you know, you can't blame him because the guy was a knockout machine. I think a lot of people felt Canelo was taking the fight against Triple G because he had to, not because he wanted to.
En mi mente nunca me sabía que había hecho un gran papel en esa pelea. Queríamos la revancha y ahora sí que quitarnos de dudas.
Доказывать кому-то что-то, то есть либо чтобы я считал, что у нас незавершенное дело, но...
This is officially a draw.
Просто не получился для меня в плане того, что я его как таковой не достал, то есть я его не смог нокаутировать.
Pues fue una pelea muy cerrada. La verdad creo que si la haya ganado Golovkin o si la haya ganado Saúl, creo que a lo mejor nadie haya dicho nada. Al final dieron empate, pero se me hizo también algo justo.
Golovkin won that first fight. I thought it was pretty clear. It may have been close, but it's close but clear.
The way that fight played out, you just thought there was a better chance of Golovkin duplicating it than Canelo doing something different that will change the outcome of the fight. He was going in against a feared guy, someone that nobody would believe you would stand and trade with. At middleweight, Gennadiy Golovkin had rocks in his hands.
The unified WBA, WBC, IBO, Ring Magazine, Middleweight Champion of the World.
Golovkin was among the top 2 or 3 fighters in the world.
Triple G! Gennadiy!
What I remember from that fight week was Golovkin and his trainer, Abel Sanchez, just trying to bait Canelo into a street fight. Just saying to anyone with a microphone that he won't stand and trade with us. He won't fight us. He's gonna move. He's gonna try to outbox us. He doesn't want to fight Mexican style against us.
Pero llegó un momento en el que sí fue muy difícil para él entender por qué la gente lo tenía bajo ese concepto. Para nosotros el boxeador es el barrio. es la gente de abajo la que se esfuerza y todo. Y él simplemente verlo güerito, ver lo diferente físicamente, él no pertenece al barrio.
Pues tenía que hablar, ¿no? Abel Sánchez tenía que hablar, ¿por qué? Porque su peleador era mi rival, pues de alguna manera tenía que él vender a su peleador y vender la pelea y hablar de algo, ¿no? Al final de cuentas quería que la gente se le pusiera de su lado a la manera que él hablaba. Al final de cuentas soy mexicano y tenga el estilo mexicano o no tenga el estilo mexicano, yo represento a México.
Eso de que Canelo no pelea como un estilo mexicano, creo que totalmente fue un error que dijo Abel Sánchez.
Para tener un estilo mexicano, pues hay que ser mexicano. Saúl es mexicano.
It was a matter of pride, so he had to come at his best. That second fight was for all the marbles.
Las Vegas, Nevada, make some noise if you are ready!
Get ready now for the rematch between Canelo Alvarez and Gennadiy Golovkin. Should be outstanding. Round number 1, we're underway, scheduled for 12 middleweight championship of the world. Golovkin comes out jabbing in the white trunks. Canelo Alvarez in the black.
It's rare for a fighter in his mid-30s to come back from a deficit, so he needs to take these early rounds and take control of this fight. He can't lose control of the fight with the younger Canelo.
Sí, la primera pelea peleamos más al contragolpe, trabajamos más las piernas, estuvimos esperando que entrara Golovkin. En ocasiones entraba, a veces no, tenemos que ir a buscarlo. Creo que nos faltó tirar más golpes en esa pelea.
Entonces, nosotros sabíamos que los rounds más fáciles que había ganado Saúl era cuando echamos para atrás a Golovkin. Entonces nosotros no necesitamos empezar a calentar o empezar el primer round. Íbamos a empezar el round número 13 en base a los rounds que habíamos ganado en la anterior pelea.
Él no sabe ir hacia atrás y se le gana yendo hacia adelante y me dijo, tienes toda la razón y así nos preparamos a ir hacia adelante.
Unlike the first fight where Golovkin was the pressure fighter the entire fight, right here we see Canelo inching in.
It's a good point, Sergio, in that when you watch almost any Triple G fight, he's the man moving forward. The other guy is moving back.
Entonces, desde que sonó la campana, hicimos un plan de trabajo para ir a echarlo para atrás a Golovkin, con movimientos de cintura, con fintas, con combinaciones.
So far, Canelo is the man saying, no, I'm moving toward you.
And that had to be something that they worked on with Canelo because, yes, that's mental pressure. And it looks bad with the judges as well. It's not really that you're boxing, you're being pushed back by the stronger fighter. But right here, Canelo's not giving no inch. He hasn't moved back. Good hook, though.
That's a great hook by Canelo Alvarez. Flashing off with the hook after he threw many jabs to set that up.
Ahí está, mira el golpe, ese. Eso fue un golpe muy importante en la pelea que lo sacó de su enfoque que tenía. Creo que eso lo sacó mucho de su pelea también.
And a jab to the body. That is a hard jab as well being thrown by Alvarez.
It's still very early in the fight, so right now Canelo is keeping this fight in the center of the ring.
Basically helping control it, to the extent that he's able to at least, by throwing hard shots. Those are menacing punches that he is throwing straight ahead on Golovkin. Golovkin must respect that.
Desde el primero, marcar el ritmo de la pelea a mi favor era muy importante.
He came out there and took the fight to Gennadiy Golovkin in the ways that nobody had taken the fight to Golovkin before. If the Mayweather fight was the worst strategy Canelo has had as a fighter, Golovkin too was the best strategy Canelo and Eddie Reynoso had as a team. He pressured him. He made him fight off the back foot.
This version of Canelo is very difficult to beat because his hand speed at this division, at the middleweight division, is very fast and explosive, and he still carries that power. If he can put these early rounds in the bank, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for a fighter in his mid-30s to come back from this.
High-level chess here between these two. They know each other pretty well at this point.
Es uno de los mejores ya a los que me he enfrentado. Pero la verdad es que yo pues entrené para eso. Un peleador que va hacia adelante siempre arriesgas más. Me recibió muy bien y yo seguía con mi mismo objetivo, ir hacia adelante tirando golpes.
Right hand by Canelo after he missed with a hook.
Bully the bully, which is something we see a lot in boxing, where guys that are the enforcer types, the physical types, sometimes when you push back on them, they don't respond quite as well as they think.
And Sergio, it's very difficult to stand in front of Canelo and think you can just jab and box conventionally.
It's explosiveness, and Golovkin's seeing this. Maybe that's the reason he's being pushed back. This is Mexican style. This is what Golovkin wanted the first fight. Well, he's getting it now, and Canelo's getting the better of it.
He had been goaded all week long into standing and fighting with Gennadiy Golovkin, and he did. He wasn't fighting anywhere close to the style of fighting he had in that first fight. I mean, we see a lot of rematches in boxing. We don't often see a fighter fundamentally change how they fight. And that's what Canelo did. He completely reworked his game plan, and he decided to do something that, quite frankly, nobody else had done with Golovkin in previous fights.
The one thing Golovkin has been able to do consistently throughout this rivalry, more than any other fighter that Canelo has faced since Mayweather, is consistently touch him. And most of that has been with the very strong left hand.
That jab opened up a cut on the eyebrow of Canelo. But was it enough to win the round?
Cuando lo cortó, creo que una cortada grande. A veces sí se preocupa uno por las cortadas porque tienes que cambiar la estrategia de la pelea. Si es que está muy grande la cortada o si está sangrando mucho, dependiendo de dónde esté.
No me preocupo por eso porque tengo la mejor esquina del mundo. No tengo por qué preocuparme por eso. Yo lo único que tengo que hacer es preocuparme por hacer lo que me dicen hacer y lo que tengo que hacer arriba del cuadrilátero.
Golovkin can get no momentum, even when it's pretty good back and forth action right here.
And he is forcing Gennadiy Golovkin to fight going backwards, which very few, if any, fighters have been able to do.
And just standing his ground. To your point, Sergio, that you made earlier, standing his ground. It's not that he's, surging forward, except now, but he's able just to stay there. He's making a choice not to back up.
That was a criticism he took in the first fight. He moved too much. Well, that's not the case in this fight.
Estaba muy agotado, estaba respirando muy fuerte. Lo golpeé muchas veces abajo y creo que eso lo agotó un poco más. Lo agarré con muchos ganchos, lo sorprendí con muchas fintas y no podía adaptarse.
Very little separating these two champions. Obviously, they both fought to a draw the first time out, the controversial draw. But if you just go with each stanza of each round, there is just not a wide gap between the two. They're that close.
Este Golovkin es peligroso desde que te subes al ring. Golovkin es peligroso en todos los rounds porque es un peleador que con un solo golpe puede terminar una pelea, puede ir perdiendo.
that's what made this, second fight so compelling, is that any shot could change the fight. And it was such a nip and tuck fight that at any moment, one punch could win you the round.
The fact is, if you can land one flush and impress the judges, that can really send things your way and maybe give you, or help give you a round.
Vi como que Saúl bajó su ritmo por ahí como entre el 7 y el 8, entonces ya a partir del 9 lo empecé a presionar para que tirara más golpes, para que hiciera mejor las cosas.
In round 9, it's been crisp so far. Canelo Alvarez seemingly not in control of this fight, but perhaps on top on the scorecard. They're picking up the pace now, everything they've got.
It's the first round where I see Canelo a little bit fatigued.
This is a brutal fight, war of attrition already. You can see it by their faces. The rematch is brutal.
Es un peleador más inteligente de lo que creen. Es un peleador fuerte, con habilidades. Entonces es un peleador especial. Es un peleador especial sin dudarlo. Sé las cualidades que tiene y el poderío que tiene, pero pues yo también. Ahora sí que el mejor va a ganar ahí y el más inteligente.
In round 10, I don't know if it's out of desperation or if Gennadiy figured something out. He started to layer his combinations. It just wasn't a 1, a double 1, or a 1-1-2. He started to throw longer combinations of 3, 4, and 5 punches that really shook Canelo.
Is that right? After landing some jabs, now moving his head, he knows he's got to move. Can't stand right in front of Gennadiy Golovkin. No, sir.
Canelo got buzzed, and he was able to evade the oncoming shots of Golovkin. I thought that was a big moment, because when he goes back to that corner, Eddie Reynoso understood what happened. He's like, wait a minute, keep boxing.
Que tenía que, la pelea estaba muy cerrada, que tenía que hacer los rounds, el 11 y el 12 los tenía que trabajar con todos, los tenía que hacer prácticamente perfectos los rounds.
Yo la verdad es que no me acuerdo de muchos rounds. Yo me puse en un modo que no me acuerdo de muchos asaltos hasta que estoy en el vestidor.
Gennadiy Golovkin seemingly down on the cards, now marching back. Chris Mannix, how do you have it as we go to round 11?
Well, Brian, I've got it 96-94 in favor of Gennadiy Golovkin. I think he's winning. I think he's done some good things these last 4 rounds.
You have Golovkin ahead.
I do.
Sergio?
I think it's a close fight, but I have Canelo ahead. I think he banked the early rounds. He went into the body. He invested in some early rounds, so I have Canelo ahead.
Neither guy has this in the bag. The bout is hanging in the balance. Golovkin landed a couple of early uppercuts. And I don't think at this point you can ever question Canelo's punch resistance. Those punches would have stopped a lot of other middleweights. Canelo actually stabilizes the action for the next 90 seconds or so, and then Golovkin finishes it off. So I'm thinking he won that round.
Hard shots by Golovkin. You could hear them land. Canelo looking to answer back. Golovkin fires back and lands a right hand, and a jab, and a combination. You think of all the thousands of hours both of these men have put in the gym to get to this point and get to the 12th round, the final round of this championship fight.
Le pregunto a Eddie, ¿cómo vamos? Bien. Ya me dice que teníamos que cerrar con fuerte. ¿Por qué? Porque ya nos había pasado lo del empate y no queríamos que volviera a pasar. Quiero dejar bien claro que gané.
Round, 3 minutes left, the rematch, and it has been outstanding. Has not gone as expected, but it is very close, and both men come out firing.
Sí, yo lo más salí a tirar golpes, a ganar la pelea claramente.
This entire fight has been fought in the middle of the ring, just intense body work, everything, just punch for punch, combinations, the defense, the subtle movement, the pivots. It's just been a brilliant performance in the middle of the ring by both fighters.
Now time to slug it out, standing right in front of each other. No dancing in this one. Golovkin up on his toes, resets, re-engages. And now they trade. That hook landed by Canelo.
And Canelo's still coming forward with those sneaky body shots in the inside.
Final moments of this fight. It's been outstanding. Who will be the middleweight champion of the world? We hope to get a definitive result, but it won't be easy. Fans are on their feet for the final seconds. These fighters deserve it. Both men are spent. And it's over. Canelo can smile now, and Golovkin with the embrace. Outstanding middleweight championship fight. It's going to be close.
No me fuera a pasar otro empate o algo por el estilo. Eso es lo único que me pasaba por la mente. Ojalá que hagan las cosas bien.
Canelo Alvarez came out firing early. I thought he won most of the early rounds. And then it was Golovkin toward the end. Here we go.
Toe-to-toe rounds of boxing. We go to the judges' scorecards.
The ebbs and flow of that fight just kept going back and forth. There was not, large stretches where you could say, this guy is so dominant.
Glenn Feldman scores this bout even, 114-114.
There was a lot of close rounds. Those last 9 minutes, I thought were very tough for Canelo.
Judge Dave Moretti and Steve Weisfeld have it, 115-113.
That was 12 rounds, as competitive as we've seen.
Your winner by majority decision and new WBC, WBO, IBO Ring Magazine middleweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo
Un momento de felicidad grandísimo para nosotros. Como equipo fue una pelea muy importante para nosotros. Soy una persona que no llora mucho, pero esas veces que no puedes asimilarlo, la verdad es que son sentimientos únicos. Está mi familia ahí, mi esposa, mis hijas, mi mamá, mi papá, mis hermanos, mis amigos, todo mi equipo. Para mí es muy importante y significa mucho. ¿Por qué? Pues porque la familia, al final de cuentas, es lo más importante para nosotros.
The way that he boxed in those fights surprised a lot of people against Triple G. Particularly the second fight where he chose just to come forward, and meet Triple G and head on. Took everything from Triple G. The most fearsome puncher in the middleweight division, one of the biggest pound-for-pound punchers in the sport. That was the fight that made everybody say, this man is a machine.
El hecho de que el mejor boxeador del momento sea mexicano, eso es motivo de muchísimo orgullo. Canelo es un deportista que nació de hueso colorado deportista. No puede parar de competir. Más de la mitad de esa carrera ha sido criticado y sin embargo ahora es el rey de los libra por libra. Un verdadero boxeador mexicano.
That second fight with Golovkin really legitimized him. To me, it was like a rocket ship that took off. It was clear at that point that not only was Canelo a popular fighter, but he was one of the very, very elite. That win cemented Canelo as a star.
Darle este tipo de peleadores a campeones más que nada invictos que vienen noqueando a todo mundo en sus categorías. Ganar una pelea de este tipo es lo que te da el paso al siguiente nivel, es lo que te da los reconocimientos del mundo boxístico.
Fueron 2 peleas muy buenas que tuve con él. La verdad es que son de las mejores peleas que que he tenido en mi carrera.
When you have two guys who come in with the feeling of, I can lose to somebody, but I just can't lose to you, there's something different. Gennadiy Golovkin has no other rivalry like he has with Canelo.
If Golovkin has one more last great performance left in his back pocket, I guarantee you he'll save it for Canelo Alvarez.
The next fight will be an all-out war where there is absolutely no chance you will see the final bell.
Y es un peleador con el que tienes que sacar todo para poder ganar. Todo lo que traes.